What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ACG League. If you're wondering what this is, it's basically an alternative Yu-Gi-Oh format built like the TCG, but at the moment obviously much slower. It is focused on delivering a balanced and fun format, and new sets drop every month. If you are interested in joining the format, you can just join by clicking the Discord link in the description, and then you're pretty much good to go. Alright, so now let's talk about the tournament results. So as you can see, there was a big chunk of people who played water and a big chunk of people who played light. You can see that there was only one water dark player, which is an interesting take on the deck, I must say. One fire and one wind player. And now to the interesting part. Out of the 4 light players that joined the tournament, every one of them made it to top 4. So that is maybe not the best indication of a balanced format, but we'll get into that a bit later. So now let's focus on the deck list. Alright, so in my opinion this was one of the probably most interesting decks of the whole tournament. Here played Water Dark and it honestly worked quite good. I played versus him and even lost the game, so it definitely worked somehow. But that's a concept I didn't even think of to begin with. Like, he plays only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, sorry, 8 water monsters, and then some darks to turbo through with Allure and boost them up with the field spell. Yeah, I mean, it somehow worked. The only thing I don't quite understand is why he plays 3 order to charge and has only 3 normal targets for it. Like, that's the only thing I'm not too sure about why he did that. But other than that, I really must say it's probably the most interesting concept of the whole tournament. And yeah, so now let's talk about the wind participant. This was the only wind deck to enter. I would say the list is pretty standard. He runs all of the beat sticks there are, and that he just put in the best of the wind monsters. But what I don't understand at all is why he's running the Soitsu, which is a 0/0 attack monster or defense attack monster, and he doesn't even run the order to charge with it, which would make like the least amount of sense with the order to charge, but without it I don't quite see why he has chosen to run this card, like at all. Really interesting. I also don't honestly know how his standing was, so I don't know how much he lost, how much he won with the deck. He didn't make it to top 4, like that's for sure, but other than that, yeah, that's the list. Alright, so here is an example of a fire list. Sadly he didn't come too far because he had to emergency leave the tournament, but other than that it was the only fire list, so I can't really say too much about it. But it's still interesting to see how he built it, and yeah, I would just say let's go to the next one. Okay, so this is probably the list, or not probably, it is the list that came the furthest out of the non-light decks, so it almost reached top 4. And yeah, I mean, the most interesting part to me is that he chose to play the concept with the Aqua Mirror. I mean, it's a card which can yield to advantage through just the knowledge what your opponent possesses, because this format is very big on like playing around stuff. So I get why he has done that, and it seems to have worked. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong. And yeah, other than that, he played, I would say, a standard water package, and then he main decked 3 reversible beetle, which is interesting, I have to say. And yeah, I mean, his results were pretty impressive considering that he was the only guy to make it this far. And that's it. Last but not least, let's take a look at the light list, which is actually mine and which won the tournament. So the main deck basically is nothing special. Like, I just ran the normal light monsters which were available, and then I chose to play the cards from the sky, which is pretty unusual in light list because the card has pretty heavy drawbacks. But I just thought that special summons are not that relevant, and I mean, you can pretty much live a turn without special summoning the ghost ship or a link monster. So I just thought, you know, why not? I have 6 targets for it, and yeah, that's why I just ran it, because you just see your power cards much faster, and I think that was one of the reasons I won. Yeah, and the other thing which I did, which surprisingly enough many people didn't run, was the order to charge, at least 2 copies of it. I mean, it's not the strongest card, but in the right moment it can definitely do some damage, and that's why I played it. And yeah, my whole side deck was basically just made to counter the light mirror match, and the idea was just to side out all the boosting light cards, which are Luminous Spark, Hoshinigan, and I usually sided out the cards from the sky and the Royal Knight too, because it just doesn't give me advantage because I boost up the opponent as well. So I just thought that while he maybe be still boosting our monsters, I will gain advantage by playing these normal cards, which will then just put pressure on him in the meantime. And yeah, I thought that probably was the way to do things. And now we will have a little discussion on how this deck even came so far. Alright, I'm here with William, and now we are going to talk about why Light was so dominant in the tournament.
Hello, I'm Human557 on the Discord. I'm a mod, so if you have any questions, you can feel free to DM me anytime. DMs are open. But yeah, I managed to get 4th with Light, barely not losing to Water. So we have the wonderful meme that is this top cut pie chart in front of you.
Yeah, only Lights.
Light I think is really strong because unlike other decks, they have access to a real trap card that no one else does. Because everyone's on Windstorm, but Luminize needs a light monster, and I think that card is, along with its ability to stack attack onto Ghost Ship and then constantly recycle it with their link, which outplays opposing Windstorm. Just lets them establish a board, keep it, and then just beat over everything else in the format.
Yeah, that's for sure their number one strength. Like, there's no debating it that that move is strong. Like, the strongest special summon monster in the game, paired with the trap, is probably why this deck is so impactful.
Oh yeah, and I know most of the light lists were like relatively the same because they all were like, all right, we're just going to Dawn Knight send cards so that we can get back with the link, and then it's just find ship, and you can just maintain board tempo with cards like Luminize, which have been limited to 1, which I think will be interesting for the next tournament.
Yeah.
Because it's like I had a 4600 Jaws man summon on me, but also if like I just luminize that, it's like okay.
Yeah, it will definitely allow for more variety. And I'm very interested if the next tournament is going to have the same top cut or the same variety in the top cut. I hope not, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I think Luminize adds a lot over Windstorm, because it just, even if that card just said negate one attack, that's it. 3 of every deck.
Yeah, but in that case I would say that Windstorm would be still better because you have the value of the defense position, and most monsters right now don't have that much of a high defense stat, so...
True. I just think
but with the boost it's crazy. Yeah. It's just crazy, there's no other word to explain it.
I think water can't be understated. I think water's problem though is that it does a lot of what like light does, but arguably better, because Lakunga lets you just always make links.
Yeah.
And they have plenty of attack points in Jawsman, which is 26 base compared to 19 base on Ghost Ship. Just, you know, there's Diamond Dust, which occasionally just can blow you out of an entire game.
Yeah. And the thing is also that it's a bit harder to get the Jawsman out compared to the Ghost Ship, which is just a special.
Yeah, for sure. Like I think there's valid reason water was everywhere, because the strength of both deck is that they can just make their link.
Yeah.
And they have access to some good special summons.
And this other strength of water is, in my opinion, that they can just establish board presence with Jawsman in the first turn if they have the special summon spell card. What was the name again?
Water Hazard.
Yeah, right, yeah. So if they manage to just stick with the Jawsman, then they have a pretty good start.
Oh yeah, and then Needle Sunfish also. It's just when it's sent to grave, period. So for a link, for Abyss Sturge's effect, for a tribute, just because you set it and it got speed over.
Yeah.
It lets you win the attack battle. I think now that Luminize is limited, the deck is looking way more terrifying.
Yeah, for sure. So one last question to you. Do you believe that the next top cut will look the same way?
I don't think it'll be all light. I just think that if a lot of people stay on light, we'll have a very similar top cut.
Okay. So my bold claim is 50-50 the next time. 50% light and 50% something else, but I don't want to point my finger on it yet.
I'm thinking 3-1 light versus water.
Okay. So you mean 3 light or 3 water?
3 light.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Just because shameless plugging. Again, Discord down below.
Yeah, for sure.
Join Not already in
if
it.
If you're interested, man. And that's it.